In the last video, I removed the battery from my old phone and tried to power it directly. Today we're going to do something useful with it. So if you haven't seen the last video, there'll be a link somewhere. I got a lot of suggestions on what I can do with this phone. I particularly liked this one. Somebody suggested installing Postmarket OS on it, which is a Linux distro. So lots of interesting things I could do there. But we're not going to do any of that in this video. Today we're going to make it into future me a digital display. Thank you. I haven't actually decided what I'm going to do with this yet. I don't need to. The first step is to tidy all this up, make it into a more elegant setup that's so cool. Get on with it. So I've drilled a hole in the back of the phone. This is just plastic, by the way. There's no antennas or wireless charging circuitry to worry about. And I've got an old USB cable that I've chopped the ends off, and we're going to use that to feed through. It does fit, it's just a bit snug. We're going to use that to feed the wires through, and that's going to feed this little project box, which is going to house the electronics in. These are brilliant. I bought a few of these a little while ago off eBay, and I've used them in all sorts of projects. One of them being my fume extractor that I use when I'm soldering. This is just an old computer fan. I'm going to do something similar. I'm going to drill a hole for the USB output, and we'll have a hole the other side for the wires, and that will house the electronics. So I've got everything tidied up now. All the modules are housed in this little project box. I'll just show you the inside. Somebody asked if the USB port on the phone is functional with this setup. It is, but I've just added a little diode on the output of the buck converter, because obviously if we plug something into the phone, we don't want it backfeeding and trying to charge the buck converter. That would be bad. I also just want to draw your attention to the inside of the phone for a moment, because there's something I forgot to mention on my last video. If you're thinking about doing this project yourself and you find that it doesn't work, try grounding the negative tag of the battery. So you see here, I've just added an extra wire going from the negative tag down to the chassis of the phone. I've just screwed it in underneath the charging port. Now I could put this to use straight away, but I want to spend a little bit of time optimizing the software, because obviously if this is going to be running 24/7, then I want it to be as efficient as possible. And being a phone, it is already very efficient. But being a Google phone, it's going to have lots of background services, lots of apps phoning home that I just don't need. So I'm going to strip that back, and it's going to get nerdy. There are chapters below if you want to skip. The first thing I did was install a custom ROM on the phone, Lineage OS. This is just a custom version of Android. It's a bit more up to date than the version my phone supported, and it doesn't come with all of Google's bloat and telemetry. I needed to root the phone as well. This will give me full access to the system and allow me to modify things further. This used to be quite popular when smartphones were in their infancy, but for most people it's not really worth the effort anymore. Most of the features that a custom ROM would provide are now part of the stock software, and many apps will refuse to work on a rooted device. For a project like this though, it's perfect. With the custom ROM installed, I went through and disabled a lot of the apps and services I don't need. I also disabled things like the navigation bar and the battery indicator too. The battery. Why does it say it's at 92%? Well, even though this could be powered indefinitely with this setup, Android gets a little confused and still reports the battery level dropping. It seems on some phones, when this reaches 0%, it shuts down automatically. I can't seem to reproduce that on this phone, so it might depend on the manufacturer. I'll put a pinned comment down below if it becomes an issue. I also installed a firewall and blocked access to the internet by default. If a weather widget or some such needs access, I'll grant it specifically. I was curious as to how much power this is drawing after my modifications, so I plugged in a cheap charge adapter and looked at the wattage. It jumps around a lot, which is to be expected, but let's be conservative and say that it averages at about 0.9 watts. The average price of electricity here in the UK, according to Ofgem, is 26.11 pence per kilowatt hour. So if we left this running 24/7 for an entire year, it would consume roughly 7.88 kilowatt hours of energy. With some basic calculations, we can work out that it would cost just over £2 a year to run at that standard rate of electricity. Not bad. With the software sorted, I set about designing my setup. I took inspiration from the standby mode on iOS devices. I want something simple. I could put a lot of information on there, but I want it readable at a glance. I spent way too long on this. I waded through a lot of apps on the Play Store to find some suitable widgets. But in the end I found this fantastic little scribble clock widget, which has quite a few different designs to choose from. I love it. I also downloaded KWGT, a calendar widget and a weather widget too, both of which are quite customizable. And I use Nova Launcher as my home screen. And this is the result. With a cheap stand from AliExpress, I think it looks quite nice, and I have a couple of designs to choose from. I can still pick it up and use it as a time-lapse camera, or any other idea that may come to me in the future too. But that's it for this video. I hope you found this little project inspiring. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you again soon.